Hey, well, hello, friends. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a free hat and or shirt. He's Bo Brack. Shane Diefenbach. Behind the camera, I'm the returning Johnny Venerable. Thanks for keeping the seat warm, fellas. It's great to be back.
It's the least I could do, right? What a monumental day. JV returns. We hear from Kyler Murray, and Shane Deef is behind the Mac today. The fellas are back together. It's exciting.
As JV would say, it's a banner day here at PHNX Cardinals.
I feel like we spoon feed people a lot of crap saying we're going to have a good show, and sometimes it's subpar.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a really good one.
Yeah, I tried to time it. You told me, hey, Kyler's speaking on Wednesday. And I said, I'll probably just come back and do my first show then, coming back on Wednesday. Try to line everything up, right? You know, when you want to stack the deck, that's what we're doing today here on PHNX
Right.
Cardinals. Feeling the love in the chat. Good to see everybody. What's up, Jessica? Oh, man, super chat from our guy, Steve Kime. We're going to get to that here in a little bit, but I'm fired up because, again, you did a tremendous job, as did our slew of co-hosts from Donnie Druin to, of course, Craig Morgan, Britton Golden, Damon Dawg. Everybody did a phenomenal job. Our guy Clancy. So thank you guys in all seriousness for holding it down. Tremendous vacation time off with my wife in Maui. And great to be back talking Cardinal football.
JV, you do look more tan, as the chat points out.
Some people say I look the same. And I'm like, well, hang on.
You look more tan, you look kind of the same, except your forehead looks more tan.
That's why I kept telling my wife, I said, I just need to burn to prove to people I was outside. That's because if I put on this SPF 150, people are going to call me a fraud that I just hid in my basement for, 5 days. So
are you a big, like cake up the nose in sunscreen guy?
Like zinc?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a big nose, so I have to put on a good amount on my face.
Big schnoz. You do not have a
you
big
gotta
nose.
really, I don't know about the size of it, but it's well shapen.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, let's move on from this subject here as we start the show. Kyler Murray spoke today at OTAs. Bo, you and I texted off air. It was the first time that he spoke since, what was it, the end of the season? Truly in a presser environment. And it's so poetic, apropos, because I was looking up the betting odds for Kyler Murray this year, because you can bet on a bunch of stuff with our friends at BetMGM. But one in particular really kind of had me riled up. It wasn't MVP. It wasn't total touchdowns, right? Kyle Odegaard had pointed that out. What about comeback player of the year? Because I would assume somebody coming off an ACL, playing about 8 games last year with a rebuilding roster, with the presence, the resume of Kyler Murray, would have pretty good odds to win comeback player of the year. And then I saw this list. And again, all due respect, because this is not exclusive to our friends at BetMGM. These are, for the most part, the odds everywhere. Kyler Murray currently is tied for 12th for the best odds to win comeback player of the year, behind the likes of Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Nick Chubb in his one leg, Russell Wilson, who can barely throw the football, and Anthony Richardson, plus 700, who has played like 5 minutes of NFL football. We talk about disrespect to Kyler Murray. We're going to talk him up all this show, so buckle up here on PHNX Cardinals on a Wednesday. This is one of the most disrespectful things. If you like winning money and subsequently flushing money down the toilet, this list is for you.
What is Justin Herbert coming back from?
That's a great question. I was just about to say, Johnny, this is the worst award in all of sports. Like the criteria, it's always changing. Like when you look at the past winners, like 2023's comeback play of the year. Anybody remember who that is?
I don't.
It wasn't DeMar Hamlin. Somehow coming back from being dead was not good enough.
Wasn't it Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco was 2023's comeback player of the year. The previous one, Geno Smith.
Brutal.
He was coming back
we
from
don't
being
want
a
Kyler
backup.
on this?
You had Russell Wilson, who played the bulk of last season. He's on this year's. He's a way higher odds than Kyler Murray. He's coming back from being cut from the Denver Broncos. That's essentially what he's coming back from.
It should be an exclusive to injury list. Like it should be like if you suffered a major injury, like Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, those make sense, right? Like Tank Dell should not be above Kyler Murray, but that makes sense. Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray let's see that list again, Shane. Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray having the same odds to win comeback player of the year. Sam Darnold is not going to start for the Vikings. We don't think. There is no way that as a career backup, he's going to have a better season than somebody, Kyler Murray, who we think has an opportunity to throw 30-plus touchdowns this year. I mean, like, this is the most disrespectful, and we've seen a lot of disrespect thrown in Kyler Murray's way, that people just don't know what to do with the Arizona Cardinals. They are literally just kicking the can down the road. Anthony Richardson has never played a quarter of an NFL season, and he has bet significantly odds to win this award. Come back from what? You've never played in the NFL. Wild.
It's the dumbest award ever, just based on its ever-changing criteria, what you're coming back from. I had a nosebleed in the 8th grade. I had made my triumphant return and had a good 2024 season. I left the movie early, and I got to the game as soon as I could, and I had a good performance. Okay, let's put that up there. Yeah. That's better than taking the Arizona Cardinals from a 4-win team potentially to knocking on the doors of the playoffs. I don't care. Even if Kyler Murray wins this award, like I will make the statement right now, I don't care if he wins the Comeback Player of the Year award, even though the odds are completely stacked against him, because it's a meaningless award. It really is. I can't think of an award in sports or non-sports, whether it's like film or whatever it may be, that holds less weight than this award.
I want to point out that in 2020, in late or early 2025, when Kyler Murray is the favorite to win this award, the YouTube title for one of these shows is being like, "This is why Kyler Murray, all caps, should win Comeback Player of the Year."
I will be leading the charge in early November. Is that what you're saying? That I'm going to say, this is what it's all about, everyone. When Kyler Murray, this is a badge of honor as Cardinals fans that you can wear proudly, that Kyler Murray, even though on June 5th, 2024, I'm saying this is the dumbest award in all of sports.
It is the dumbest award. It is
make some money though. $50. $50 at plus 3,000 is gonna net you over $1,500.
But at least when you look at like the offensive player of the year, you understand what the bulk of the criteria is. You got to put up gaudy stats. Your team has to win, and that's the most of it. That's the heavy lifting. Where this one, like, it sways each and every. Like Ryan Tannehill came back from just being bad at football.
I think if Kyler Murray takes the Cardinals to the playoffs and has the kind of statistical year we expect him, I think he can win this award. And that's why I think there's money to be had.
But what's stopping Phillip Rivers from coming back from having his 11th child and re-entering the NFL in week 11 and going on a 6-week stretch to lead the Miami Dolphins to a playoff chase? Like,
where's JV on this list?
Where's Johnny Venerable?
Yeah, he just came back from a vacation.
This is actually, I mean, depending on who's dictating what the criteria is, coming off of a Maui trip might be the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah, I had an overnight flight out of Maui, and I need to caffeinate myself and come back to reality here on PHNX Cardinals. You can't get my live odds, but you can get K1's live odds. So again, the disrespect is immense. Thankfully, that is exclusive, almost exclusive to the exterior market, not here in the Valley, because Kyler Murray took to the podium today not to talk about these egregious odds. And again, these aren't exclusive to our friends at BetMGM. They're all over the place. These are the consensus odds. I cross-reference them on several sports books. So again, if you want to dabble, go ahead and do so with our friends at BetMGM. But if you want to keep it locked here to PHNX Cardinals, you get to hear what Kyler Murray had to say. And right now, we did some sniffing around. We put some sources, some boots to the ground. The word on the street is, and again, this is not hyperbole, Bo's there every day, but then coming from inside that building, this is the best that Kyler Murray maybe has ever looked as an Arizona Cardinal. That's happening right now. The kind of OTAs, and again, I emphasize off-season team activities, the command of this offense, the physical shape that he's in, the zip on his passes, we're hearing, this show is hearing this is the best Kyler Murray's ever looked. You care to respond to that, Bo Brock?
Well, I mean, I asked Kyler, as far as infrastructure goes, from playmakers to his health to his play calling, has he ever felt like he's been put in this position, this much of a position to have success? And he says, I get the feeling like I did going into my Heisman Trophy winning season. If that doesn't get you fired up, I mean, that's all you need to hear. It was a pretty short answer. That's why, we don't have the video. You can see the video on my Twitter at Bo Brock. But I mean, and I hate to say this, obviously, with the quote already being out there, but I was thinking about that, just the way things are trending, just like it hasn't completely popped just yet, but you have an up and coming playmaking group of playmakers. You have an up and coming play caller who had to deal with preparing 4 quarterbacks to start last season and kind of found his rhythm at the end of last year. And you have a quarterback that Jonathan Gannon said today, in the biggest way that you can make a jump from one year to the next is things slow down for you. And that Kyler Murray, as far as just his ability to operate their offense, is getting to the next level. I mean, I think that those are all signs pointing to Kyler Murray breaking out in a big way in 2024.
Well, and you mentioned that the trio receivers plus, an all-pro potential tight end, I think gives this fan base and Kyler Murray hope that, he can have a career season. And we've come a long way from last year to this year where, Greg Dortch was still firmly behind Rondell Moore on the depth chart, which, again, he took upon himself to not only steal his starting job, but earn his starting number. Number 4 now is the starting slot receiver. They have the, maturation process of Michael Wilson, who beat out Zach Pascal among many other veterans last year to become really the cemented wide receiver 2. And then, oh, by the way, you added a generational prospect in Marvin Harrison Jr. during last April's NFL draft. And then you had, of course, Trey McBride breaking out over the course of, I think, the last 12 games for the Cardinals in 2023. A big part of what Kyler wants to do this year in the passing game is, this is, I think, the most youthful, athletic receiving corps he will ever have. Mm-hmm. This is not relying on guys that are 28, 29 years old, with all due respect to A.J. Green and D-Hop toward the end, who couldn't stay healthy, right? Or even our guy Larry Fitzgerald, who, he was pushing mid to late 30s when Kyler got here. Kyler Murray, outside of Christian Kirk, has never really had a young receiver in his prime kind of coincide with Kyler's prime. And now you can make an argument all 4 of his primary options in his passing game are guys that are either entering their prime or just on the cusp of entering their NFL career, like a Marvin Harrison Jr., like Dortch, Trey McBride. Let's get into their prime years of their career. And then, MHJ and Michael Wilson right behind them. Like, it's got to get Kyler Murray fired up.
Yeah, it's very rare when you find teams at the top of the NFL, especially like in the offensive or defensive categories, and especially on the offensive side, that are putting up big time points and big time, yardage numbers, that it's just a collection of proven commodities that were, acquired in different ways. It's a proven commodity, I'm sure, in the form of a quarterback and a top wide out, a running back, but also you've got to have guys that are on the upward swing that are going to pop, that are you're going to get production from that people weren't expecting. And, I think that, Marvin Harrison Jr., although he's a rookie, I think he's somebody that people have high expectations for. But in James Conner, I think maybe fits that bill too, maybe. But then you've got guys like Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson, who I think people, just because they didn't watch that many Cardinals games, are kind of sleeping on, that have that ability to, when they have a big 2024, take this offense to the next level.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of what we saw in Houston last year, I think, is they needed the QB to be the catalyst. That, oh yeah, Nico Collins could always play, just needed the QB. And like we talked about it at nauseum, like when Michael Wilson can go into San Francisco and catch 7 passes on 7 attempts from Joshua Dobbs, it's like, oh yeah, this translates quarterback play, his talent. And we've been seeing it with Greg Dortch each of the past 2 years, whether it's Colt McCoy or Clayton Tune or the aforementioned Joshua Dobbs. Greg Dortch is always open. He's always available for somebody like Kyler Murray. So then you couple that now with the ultimate QB elixir in Marvin Harrison Jr. Like this trio has not played it down yet together in an NFL game, but it does really feel like it's made up of everybody complements everybody else. Like Michael dominates the intermediate part of the field. Greg Dortch is the ultimate slot receiver. I think he's going to take that next step this year. And then, MHJ can do it all, but he's also an over-the-top deep threat that they have not had. Kyler Murray really hasn't had that since that one peak year of A.J. Green, maybe a little bit of Christian Kirk, Farrell Cooper. So, to me,
he's never had a pick-your-poison offense. He just never has. It hasn't existed since he came and arrived in 2019. And I think it was obviously they were held back by the inability to properly team build. And Monty Osford is pretty well versed in that and a pretty good roster architect to where it's like, okay, if you're going to stack the box to slow down this team that wants to run the ball down your throat with James Conner, and if it's not James Conner, it's Trey Benson and some, versatile tight ends and Trey McBride, and now entering the equation, who was tabbed the best blocking tight end in the 2024 draft, and Tip Ryman and an offensive lineman that is thirsty to run block. That if you're going to start to creep up and stack the box, guess what? Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Z, or Greg Dortch in the slot are going to cut you up. Trey McBride as well in the passing attack.
And then Kyler Murray spoke about all three of his playmakers today. I'm fired up to hear what he had to say, Bo.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start here. Do you want to start with obviously the fourth overall pick and Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, kind of his initial thoughts, initial impressions on MHJ?
I mean, it's just I think everybody saw it coming out, and I know there's like evaluation fatigue and everything when it comes to the draft process, and everybody's watching everybody, and they want to nitpick, what he can't do, what he can't do. I think he's been good at football his whole life. He's been obviously groomed by one of the best. His pop's obviously a Hall of Famer. There's there's not much to think about, dude. Like he plays the game at a high level. Obviously, it's a new level for him, but I have no doubt that he'll go do his thing this year and win whatever he wants to. I think he's going to be that type of guy. I know how much he loves the game. Obviously, just sitting there talking to him, his energy, and just what he's going to mean to the team. I think everybody should be excited about him. He will be. And I think that takes us to another level when you got a guy out there that is capable of winning one-on-ones. Obviously, he's got to go do it, and he knows that. We all know it. But as far as manipulating coverage and stuff like that, like you got a guy out there that can do that. And even if he's not open, he's open. So I'm excited to be able to build that with him. But if he when he does what he does, I fully expect our offense to be top of the league.
Can I just say, too, anybody seen those photos of Tua looking like he's on the Slim Fast diet that, somebody could break him in half? Kyler Murray, whatever Tua's diet is this offseason, Kyler Murray's doing the opposite, Bo.
The keto? What's he doing? Yeah. I mean, you and I want to know what he's doing. We want to drop a couple LBs, but is it conducive to playing the quarterback position at a high level?
Tua remains to be seen. Look, guys, I'm down to 175. Check it out.
I'm fitting in I'm high school skinny, guys. Not great for playing quarterback or just trying to survive at the NFL level. We had some fun with that last night, especially when we saw some of the quotes coming out of Miami from Cheetah Tyreek Hill saying that Tua looked fat as shit. That was his quote at the Pro Bowl. So he felt maybe a little pressure to slim down. But no, like Kyler Murray just looks like he's in the best shape of his career. Like, I know, like, I think you go through an evolution where you come in the league and you're young, you're 21, you're 22, and then you try to figure out like, okay, do I need to wear some extra weight to get through the marathon of an NFL season? No, maybe I need to slim down. And I think Kyler Murray's finding a happy medium. And like Jonathan Gannon is somebody who's big into making sure your body's in the best position to be successful possible. I mean, he was joking, but at the same time, it gave you a little glimpse. Like somebody had asked about playing in the high temperatures, and Jonathan Gannon, like when in his answer, like quipped back, like, did you know that it actually, helps you like add to this part of your body, like your body or your oxygen count, whatever it might be. But Jonathan Gannon, like he's big on that. Like he understands, like when Philadelphia made its run to the Super Bowl, it was one of the healthiest teams in the league. And he understands like injuries are going to happen, but if you're putting yourself in the best position to be healthy and your body be physically ready for the toll it's going to take, you're going to be in a good spot at the end of the season.
Well, you also have to factor in, like, Kyler Murray, of course, didn't play a full season last year. He played 8 games last year.
He hasn't played a full season since 2020,
which is pretty wild, like a full season. And he didn't finish that season healthy. So there's a lot of pressure on K1. I think that's the biggest, point of contention that this show gets, where, hey, talking too much Kyler Murray homers, you guys, let's be realistic here. If Kyler Murray, and we've been consistent with this, if Kyler Murray plays 17 games, he's going to put up statistical numbers that the Cardinal franchise has not seen before. Like, he has that ability. And if, as a quarterback, outside of availability, that's all you can ask for. Like, there's a lot of guys in this league that can start 15, 16 games. You're not going to get very much production. They're available, but you're not going to win a lot of games. Whereas Kyler Murray, it's always been about, can he hold up physically? And I think the combination of how he's transformed his body, right, the opposite of Tua, and then on the same front, like, this offense, complementary to a skill set, it's not asking him to do and be everything. Like, they're running the football in the second half just as much as they're trying to establish the run in the first half. And we saw that against Seattle. We saw that against Philadelphia. Like, I brought this up before I left. The Cardinals were down 21-3 or 21-6 against the Eagles in Philadelphia. Did not quit on the run game in the second half over that game. Kyler Murray working off of play action. That's the Cardinals offense now. Yeah. It's not, 10 personnel, 4 or 5 wide receivers, backyard football. Now they're in an opportunity. This should, knock on wood, prolong Kyler Murray's career in the NFL. What Drew Petzing and Jonathan Gannon are outlining now.
Well, just look at what happened with Baker Mayfield, where he was able to stay healthy in Tampa Bay, and he was set up with a decent infrastructure defensively, offensively. You've got Rashard White toting the football pretty well there for the Bucs. Great wide receivers. And playing all 17 games and see Baker Mayfield have his best season of his NFL career. Like, he had his most consistent. He throws for 28 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, and just 10 interceptions. I mean, what do you think Kyler Murray can do with that? And it is very contingent on K1 staying healthy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect outline is what Baker Mayfield did last year. Now, the only caveat is he plays in the kind of dog shit NFC South. Like, Kyler Murray's got to play against Hall of Fame level head coaches, which is something that only the non-casuals look at and say, like, hey, Kyler Murray has to go up against Sean McVay, Pete Carroll, and Kyle Shanahan every year, right? Historically, during his career, I know Pete Carroll's gone. Like,
he's not slumming it in the NFC South against the Carolina Panthers and the
legitimately some of the worst run franchises in the NFL are in that division. Atlanta can't stop taking 30-year-old quarterbacks, right? The Saints are a penny away from imploding with their salary cap situation, and the Panthers are the biggest joke in the NFL. But let's put Baker Mayfield ahead of Kyler Murray and all these offseason quarterback lists. It's like, do we not contextualize or take any of this into account? Kyler Murray has to play 2 Hall of Fame level offensive head coaches now every single year moving forward indefinitely. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. Like, and he finally gets a good head coach last year, and people are like, oh, I might be back in on Kyler Murray. It's like, that's what happens when Steve Keim, Cliff Kingsbury aren't bringing him down.
The NFC West, an all-out brawl, just slugfest, and then it's just a pillow fight down there in the NFC South.
And again, like we've talked about it, I would rather have Pro Bowl quarterbacks in this division over elite head coaches, because there's a shelf life at the end of the day for QBs. Whereas like McVay and Shanahan are like 40, 45 years old, or I think McVay's not even 40 years old yet. He's like our age. Yeah. Brutal, man. And that's what Kyler Murray has to overcome. And you can overcome it. You can beat those teams, but you can't do it by yourself, obviously. He tried to do it on his own. He couldn't overcome inept coaching, Cliff Kingsbury, Vance Joseph, inept personnel. So now it's like, okay, if they put it all together, that's how you're going to do it. We had Brian Baldinger on and Mina Kimes for that matter. And we asked both of them that question, like, how do you overtake Shanahan and McVay?
Yeah.
It's obviously you need Kyler Murray clicking all cylinders, but the roster has to be built up and you have to instill that culture and that confidence. And that doesn't happen overnight. But here's what I will say.
Yeah.
Cardinals can still make the playoffs finishing behind those 2 teams this year. Absolutely they can.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be a sweat, no doubt about it. But I think it's possible. I think that's what people envision as the most realistic path. There's different ways to get there too, and it's with the ugly reality of the NFL and having to deal with not having starters at key positions and stuff like that, and how that impacts where teams finish. But if LA and San Francisco get consistent quarterback play throughout the season, the way those rosters are built, yeah, I mean, they should have an easy time continuing on the success that they enjoyed in 2024. Of course, you bring up Mina Kimes, by the way. I mean, we'll get into
Why is that
later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, we're not. No one's scared of Geno Smith on this podcast. Producer Shane, how dare you?
Former comeback player of the year, Geno Smith.
Have you guys not learned how the prestigious award of the comeback player of the year affects a guy's career, his career path, his trajectory?
I don't want Kyler Murray on the same list as Geno Smith.
Hey,
actually, that's the. I actually don't.
What if it's a cool guy list?
I don't know if Geno makes a cool guy list.
But what if he was?
Geno Smith's 33 years old, by the way. He's 33 years old. He's been in the league for fucking ever. Let's get him out of here. Can we kick off the Seahawks?
He's about to be.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's too elite. Are you guys not worried about Sam Howell?
No one's worried about that.
Yeah,
no one's ever been worried about that.
He's ready to go 3-0 in the preseason and then cower like once the games actually matter.
I say this completely genuinely. I miss Drew Lock.
Oh my God, Shane, get help.
First time that's ever been uttered.
Seek help.
History.
No, ex PHNXer David Rodish feels the same way.
Okay, 2 people. It's a party of 2 for the I miss Drew Lockers.
And we're eating at Hooters and JV's not allowed to come.
Sounds good. That's rude. I have a sad story to tell you all that happened yesterday that has to do with our friends at Shady Rays.
Johnny.
Yeah, I'm in the ocean yesterday. And
flex.
Yeah, it's a mild
flex. Is that flex from Jersey? Flex when I was in the Jersey.
I had my Shady Rays on. That was an older pair, but Shady Rays, I don't know if you guys are familiar. They hold out pretty well. I had this player, I think it was the all black, the blackout, whatever they're called. They're fantastic. They're the black on black. And about 18 months worth. And I'm on the beach and there's some boats are coming in on the shore. My wife's telling me, you got to come out farther in the ocean or you're going to get slammed by some waves. And I said, I won't be okay. I didn't want to I didn't want to get my hair wet. I was just kind of vibing my last day there. And then a boat comes in and these waves turned into about double my size. And I got slapped in the face so hard by this wave. It knocks off my hat, my PHNX hat, same hat Bo's rocking right now, and my Shady Rays. And I found the hat. I did not find my Shady Rays. And it was really depressing. So here's what I did. I ran to my phone, which is very close by at all times, on the beach. And I popped in the promo code PHNX and I reordered my pair of sunglasses. And they're going to be here in a matter of days. And I got 35% off. That's a true story. I have the receipt.
Yeah.
Because I am addicted to Shady Rays sunglasses. They are elite, not elite prices. They are easily affordable prices. Plus, if you hit a threshold, I think of over $60, you get free shipping. So I should have bought 2 pair, but again, shipping was just $5 on top of that. But right now, anybody who's listening to this podcast, anytime I need a new pair, I go to the website, I put in the bonus code PHNX, and then they're throwing deals at me when I'm checking out. It's like they're always cycling new shades. So it's like, hey, are you interested in these? Are you interested in these? $20, $30. They are premier sunglasses at not a premium price. I cannot say enough good things about them. Thankfully, I have my backup pair, the Timber pair that I rocked on the way home. That's fairly new. So those are going to keep me warm until my new pair come in. But that's a true story. You can check them out. Over 300,000 5-star reviews for our friends at Shady Rays. ShadyRays.com. Again, bonus code PHNX, 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try them for free. Like my wife ordered a pair and she didn't like how they looked on her face. Sent them back, got a refund. It's easy as that.
Kind of funny to think about Johnny coming in just drenched from getting slammed by waves like it's Aaron Donald.
It's lunchtime, Johnny.
Out there.
Johnny, come in. The riptide's too strong. James.
He's in a panic. Help me. Help. I've lost my Shady Rays.
Somebody said that you'd still be hosting this podcast if you got swept away. You just have a coconut as your co-host instead.
I just imagine like Tom Hanks from Castaway, him searching and seeking out his Shady Rays in the ocean.
Johnny would somehow manage to squeeze an hour out of
it. It was great
because
like no one offered to help me up. My swim trunks may or may not have come partially off. And I'm there and I'm in like 4 feet of water. Scrambling for my Shady Rays. Does anybody see my sunglasses? All these people just walk by.
Were you the only noob out there that had no clue that you were about to get slammed by the ocean because of the boats?
I was taking in the vibes. I was having a good time, and you gotta keep. It's like on the football field. You gotta keep your head on a swivel. I did not.
No, you didn't. It was a blindside block that took you out. and your Shady Rays fell victim there. But thankfully, they're going to replace him. You know, you may not be a Maui, but if you're looking for some good vibes, some good patio time here in the Valley of the Sun, look for no further than our friends over at Illegal Pete's. We love Illegal Pete's. We used to be blessed by some illegal pizza there in the office. Got build your own taco bar. Unbelievable, unmatched in my opinion. How about the carne, the pollo that they have? You can't go wrong when you're at Illegal Pete's. You can actually find burritos, bowls, tacos, salads, nachos, those custom cocktails, delicious.
Potatoes.
Cold.
You can put potatoes in your burrito, which just adds such a, oh my God. If you haven't tried that yet, you got to try it. It's unbelievable.
Try that while with some patio beers. How about a nice ice cold bucket of beers out there at Illegal Pete's? And how about some piping hot queso? Can't go wrong there. They got their sound check deal. You can bring your ticket stub to any ticketed event, draft beer, house margarita, just for a penny. That's all. Just for a penny. Is it Lincoln that's on the penny? Is that right? You just slam that down. You say, hey, I got drinks on me, folks.
Well, rumor has it if you see JV at any Illegal Pete's, he'll buy you a drink.
Is he?
Yeah, he'll actually buy you a bucket of beers.
He'll throw down a sock full of pennies and say, it's on me, folks.
Green napkins on me.
You do have to purchase an adult entree to redeem the Illegal Pete's. Might blow up in his face, but you never blow up in your face when you're going to Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
I'm mortified to read these super chats. I guess let's get it started here. Big Red 6, $5, getting slapped in the face with some dogs here. I was cutting up tiny bites of steak for my 3-year-old and thought, hey, JV is back tomorrow. Dope. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I would give your 3-year-old steak. Depends what kind of steak it is. Melt in your mouth kind of steak. My steak in Indianapolis was pretty tough. It's pretty tough on my rum tumbo. So
what?
I had to pass on it.
Those steaks were butter.
I mean, this is a world-renowned steakhouse that you are
literally
besmirching and saying, well, I don't know what, if the cut.
I would have preferred a hamburger.
Yeah. You guys have any steaks that are ground?
It's like I get the reservation. I book that out weeks in advance, and now everybody's talking shit after the fact. Don't salute me. Don't salute me. I'm not into that. Diehard Gary $4.99. Need Johnny's take on Clancy's steak news last week. Welcome back, JV. So there was some news that broke on the Twitter streets, basically that said that Clancy had admitted that Bo Brack had a tough time finishing his steak. Yeah. I know Bo's going to discredit it and say it's fake news, but you care to comment, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely fabricated story. He claims that he had no idea of, the steak talk that was going on in this show, and he just came up with it because that's what he remembers. It's like, look, if you're going to give me an 8-ounce filet, there's not going to be anything left. And the only time that it's my steak eating is in question if there's a little gristle on there and I leave the fat on my plate because I'm not a big fat guy. Jason jumping in with the two. I'm not gonna. That's as far as that story is gonna go because Clancy's full of it, and he earned himself a lifetime ban from this show.
He's full of it, like you guys are full of your steaks and you can't finish them.
No, I do finish my steaks. How dare you, Jason? JV back from the 999 training. LFG. Did you have any Hawaiian dogs while you were?
No, I had a couple cheeseburgers. I did not have any dogs. I'm ready to get back into the swing of things for the 999. I'm going to steal this. I saw this on Twitter. It's not going to be called the 999 when I do it. It's going to be called 911 because you better call the police because I'm going to dominate it. You're going to need the authorities.
I was going to go the other way. We need
an ambulance. 911. Somebody help this 14-year-old. He couldn't finish his hot dog. I have not been trained. I need to get back into it. We're ready to go. We're finding the dirtiest, sloppiest Arizona Diamondback game, probably against the White Sox, that we're going to go to. We're going to sit.
No, we're doing it from the studio.
No, we're not. We're doing it at the stadium. You guys been trying to plan without your boy here behind the scenes?
I mean, from the studio would be pretty nice just because we could have the dogs here, the beers here.
It would be easier to film it.
It'd be way easier to film it. The EMTs probably have an easier route to the studio than the third deck.
The safest place to get to have an injury or have a medical emergency is a professional sporting event.
Okay.
In fact.
Right.
Well, aside from like a hospital,
I will get like vibes from professional athletes competing, and I will feel like, okay, it's time for me to compete. You know what I mean?
Time to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Carley, $2, 999 equals beef and bach, Damon Dawg, Johnny Venerable unable, and no brat.
Am I no brat?
I guess.
Am I at no brat on Twitter? That's good. I like the play on words. Those are some punny ones.
They were. Thank you so much for the super chat. Greg, $1.99. How was Johnny's Midwest hot dog tasting tour? If I would have gone to the Midwest, my wife literally would have killed me. We desperately needed a vacation that was not in the Midwest. And I love the Midwest. I'm from Illinois originally, but we had some cultured food, which was excellent. But yeah, it's time to get serious again with my consumption for the $9.99.
Cardi D, $2 super chat. Thank you, Cardi D. Welcome back, Johnny. Bunch of hot dog and beer emojis.
I think that's 9 each.
There we go.
I don't like
visualize it.
Yeah, that makes it worse when you put in emojis like that. That makes it scary when it's outlined like that. Oh no, Arizona Cardinal GM Steve Keim putting in a super chat. Thank you so much. Interesting avatar choice, Steve Keim. Of all the choices you could take, $4.99. Hey Bo, next time you have Amani in a presser, tell him this can't miss linebacker he should draft in 2025. I also need to be on that booze cruise for our big upcoming trip to South Beach for the Arizona Cardinal Miami Dolphin outing in late October.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I can say that the booze cruise is going to be elite. Everybody's going to want to be there, and that's understood. Thank you, Steve Keim.
big crack in the back. $2. JV the Glizzy Gobbler back in the saddle. Goat Pod. This is the Goat Pod. This is the premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. I'm ready to gobble some glizzies. Just not today. Tommy Felix, $5. I'm collecting anti-Kyler receipts. Love this pettiness. Gonna cash them in at the end of the season. Welcome back, JV. Nice to see you are refreshed. I am refreshed and ready to go. And those anti-Kyler receipts, man. First of all, I think people are gonna wise up pretty quick early in the season. People are gonna start backtracking all the BS they talked about over the last 18 months. Like I bring this up often because it was so alarming when the Cardinals hosted the Super Bowl in Arizona and Bo and I were on Radio Row. It legitimately was the in vogue thing to come on and bash a guy who had just torn his ACL that a lot of players had never even met or media people had never interacted with. It was just like, how can I check a box and become relevant today? Oh, I can rip on this 25-year-old kid. It was gross. One of the grossest things I've ever seen.
It's like that loser, was it Bryce Butler a couple weeks ago? He still thought that was the way to kind of get your name, some clicks and some views, and he's probably working an In-N-Out Burger now because he didn't make enough. Yeah, it's a great place to work. It's got great benefits, but at the same time, he was way off base. I mean, even a lot of people sniffed that out. They said, "Hey, this is an old lazy narrative. Nobody buys this any longer." And the people that are closest to Kyler Murray. They're saying, who he actually is as a player, as a competitor, and they're excited about where he's going this season.
I'm excited about what I saw at OTAs today on the PHNX Cardinals Twitter feed, as well as at Bo Brack. There's a certain catch that was made that I hope we have it in the highlights here, Bo.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to hold out through the entire highlight reel, but we had some good stuff today. Here's Kyler. How about some early James Conner play action to Trey McBride? Who has better practice swag than Trey McBride with the hoodie there? Here's Isaiah Adams, your third-round pick out of Illinois, working on some blocking drills with Paris Johnson Jr. And there he is. There's Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. just warming up, getting some sprints here. You got that's Chris Moore as well with Marvin Harrison Jr. There's Trey Benson, your rookie running back, catching a pass from K1.
Good to see.
Yeah, a couple of those in a row, and then you're going to start to see Marvin Harrison Jr. start to take over the highlights. This is just a little early pitch and catch down the field. There he is again on the other side of the offensive line. Little hook, catch, and go. And then you got him on the other side of the field. I think this is going to be from Kyler again. A little quick out, and then this is the one you're talking about. Down the field, little out over his shoulder and outstretched arms, fingertip catch from Marvin Harrison Jr. That's probably his best catch of the OTAs.
It's about as good of a highlight as you're going to get from OTAs. And again, just we've had very little to cheer about in terms of wins and losses over the last couple of years. That's as close right there, that catch. Visualizing that catch 6 months ago, whenever that was, January, when we were talking about the reality of him potentially being a Cardinal and seeing that, it's pretty special. Those are the kind of highlights that are gonna get you a training camp this fall at State Farm Stadium. He's just so unlike anything that they have, and I love Michael Wilson. I mean, MHJ complete package. And again, we have barely even scratched the surface because he didn't participate in the offseason. We've barely seen anything from him. And then like, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off, and you're going to see highlights like that at State Farm Stadium during the red and white scrimmage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a preseason game against the Colts, like 60-yard bombs from Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr. It's Cardinal fans deserve it, man. We're on the cusp because I feel like, because we called the team store, my dad's here, and they were watching our kids while we were in Maui, and they went to Shields, no Marvin jerseys. So they called the team store in Glendale and asked them, find people there. Like, when can we get one? They don't even know. They're like, we don't know when. People keep calling. They ask. We don't know when they're going to be available. And there's just going to be a swarm of jerseys and highlights and production that's going to come in about 6 weeks. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, no longer. I mean, gone are the days where those big time plays are going to have to be made by Rondale Moore. Like, you finally have, I think, the personnel, a guy that's close to 6'4", 212, he has game breaking speed that's going to be able to go get it.
I might have to come back in here for football Sundays.
I mean,
is the tailgate show coming back?
Bring it back.
We'll have to lobby for
it. As much as my family would hate that, I would love it so much. It's legitimately the greatest thing we've ever done at this network.
Get some wings, maybe some nachos.
Ooh, man.
Drink like 4 seltzers, and then just feel awful the rest of your Sunday. Let's go.
I had some bad airport wings and nachos last night. Ordered that same combination. Didn't sit well on the overnight flight.
Well, you got Michael Wilson, who I asked Kyler Murray about today, and if you needed any more fuel for the excitement, just listen to K1's comments on Mike.
A lot, and not necessarily a lot as in like he had a lot of work to get better at, but he's just Mike's gonna be playing for a long time. I believe that. I fully believe that. He's one of those guys, man. He's I call him at 3 a.m. He's there. It doesn't. He loves the shit. And it's a guy like, man, I fully expect Mike to go off this year for sure.
Johnny, would you be there for me if I called you at 3 a.m.?
Probably not. I look at my phone the next morning, back, oh, Bo called, and then continue my day.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It is. It is. He's a Stanford man. Look, he understands. He's on call 24/7. But look, that's what you want to hear about Michael Wilson. And Kyler was wanted to be fully complimentary there. I said, what's the jump you're expecting from Mike? And he's basically like, not to say he wasn't already good before, but this is a guy that's going to be making some big time plays for us this season. He's going to have a long career, basically, what Kyler said.
Michael Wilson, and I don't say this hyperbole, was the biggest storyline of training camp last offseason. This team, and this is not a knock on Michael, but a late third rounder out of Stanford having a really nice training camp was what got us fired up to do the show, because he was beating out Zach Pascal. He was beating out Rondale Moore to play outside. He was a starting outside receiver as a late third, and he looked really good in practice, albeit against a Cardinal team that didn't look like this last year. So it's like kind of being slept on a little bit. Outside of Kyler Murray, nobody benefits more from the arrival of MHJ than Michael Wilson. Double coverage gone. Number 2, number 3 corners now on Michael. Like, he has the physicality. It's all about, can he stay healthy and have a presence over 17 games? Like, I think Kyler and Michael are really kind of kindred spirits in that sense of like, hey, if we keep each other healthy, we're going to produce, we're going to put up big numbers, and we're going to help our team win. Like, and again, that's a knock on both those guys. So just feel like that with this team, everybody understands the task at hand of what they need to do to accomplish where they need to be. Like, hey, we want to make the playoffs. We need Michael Wilson to do that. Obviously, we need Kyler Murray. Well, how do we stay healthy? How do we best condition our bodies this offseason? If you have, like, Kyler Murray looks big. If you haven't seen Michael Wilson in person, we had an opportunity to see him at our NFL draft party, Gila River Resorts and Casinos back in April. He is enormous. And then obviously, Bo, you see him every day. Like, he was already physically, I would say, not fit, physically advanced because of how much time he spent at Stanford and how much he dominated the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine offseason last year. It's almost feel like he's doubled down on that now. Like, he's taken to the NFL conditioning program. The Cardinals have gone from a receiving core, in all actuality, that fielded people my height to guys who are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", welcome back to, a standard NFL offense. It's exciting.
Well, and how about this? I mean, not only is he a specimen, and so are so many of the, incoming Arizona Cardinals, like Darius Robinson. But, we talked to Evan Brown, who's already making a name for himself with his legendary workouts in the weight room, where Yelda Froholt, jokes, it pisses him off how strong Evan Brown is. And Paris Johnson Jr. says he's built like SpongeBob or a Roblox character. And Evan Brown is basically outlining that this team's not just competitive on the field, like they're competitive in the weight room. And that's what you need for guys to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And I don't think it ends in the trenches with the offensive and defensive linemen. I think guys like Michael Wilson, and he told this to you and I at the Super Bowl, and then once again on draft night, saying like, and I know it's maybe a bad job interview answer, but I think it's true to Mike Wilson. Like, hey, I guess my biggest issue is I work out too much, or I take too good care of my body, and I could stand to have a Sprite every once in a while.
Yeah, it's like, you want to eat with us one afternoon, Mike? You want to go out to eat with us and get a little sloppy Joes with the boys? Like, we can do that. We can eat real dirty one afternoon with Michael Wilson. That should be a bit on this show. Is we took Michael Wilson out to eat for some of the grossest food that he had to put away to be able to keep himself healthy.
He wouldn't do it. He'd tap out.
If it would feel like we're contributing to the team.
Yeah.
You go up to Gannon the next presser. Hey, we took care of Michael last weekend. We helped him add a couple much needed LBs. And really think it's going to help him get through the month of November.
Get out of my face. Stay away from
right. Get Bo Brock out of this presser. It's ironic, isn't it, that the Cardinals literally were allergic to big and physical. They doubled and tripled down with small, right? And at the end of the day, you're not beating San Francisco and Seattle and the LA Rams with undersized finesse players. So what they do, they transform their receiving core. And what was the lone player left that's undersized, that played bigger than his size? The guy that they got is an undrafted free agent. It's very poetic, right? They took all these undersized receivers in the second round from Andy Isabella, and of course, our guy Rondell Moore, and even Kirk was about 5'10 and a half. And all those guys are gone, right? And they got a guy, where did Greg Dortch go to school? Wake Forest, undrafted. Yeah. And he plays bigger than his stature. He's got elite metrics, analytics off the charts. I'm sure everybody saw that graphic on Twitter. You can't cover him. And he's the last man standing, undrafted. It's exactly how you want to build your team, because Greg Dortch, Steve Keim, is the outlier. He is not the norm. And too much Keim thought, everybody undersized that's productive at the collegiate level. That's the norm in the NFL. It's not. The norm looks like MHJ and Michael Wilson and Trey McBride. And then if you're lucky, you'll hit on a Greg Dortch.
Yeah, it's like your defensive coordinator, and you're saying, hey, we got to be geared up to slow down James Conner in that run game. Good blocking scheme. Conner averaged over 5 yards per carry. Oh, and also make sure you got MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr., explosive rookie. And also, Trey McBride broke out last year, 80 catches, 800 yards. He's a threat too. Oh, and then also Michael Wilson, big-time second-year player. And then, guess who's flying under the radar again in the slot, who JJ said is having some of the most epic battles in OTAs with Garrett Williams at the nickel corner position. It's Greg Dortch. And, Kyler Murray, unwavering faith in a guy like Greg Dortch, who's now been with the team for a couple seasons. We heard from K1 talk about his good buddy, PHNX podcaster himself, Greg Dortch.
Underrated. Dortch, he's really, I feel like Dortch is unguardable as far as, one-on-one, knowing where to be in the zones. He's just got the nuance and the savvy to him that you want in a receiver, and not everybody has it. And I say that like it's not very common, and whether he's 5'7", like he's, if he was 6'3", he'd be a top 5 pick, and that's what I think. That's the type of football player that he is. And again, he loves the game. So I go to war with Greg every day.
This is gonna sound harsh. There were so many times that I watched the receivers we just mentioned that didn't work out here, and I would just think like, this is a losing player for this team. Like, we can't count on you to make winning plays. You're not a loser, but like, when we try to get you the ball on Sundays, Andy Isabella, we lose games. Whereas Greg Dortch, you get him the ball, he's a winning player.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just as cut and dry, as simple as that is. That guy is a winner at the end of the day. Carlos Dansby for the Arizona Cardinals, a winner, right? Darnell Dockett, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, they have winning qualities. Greg Dortch has winning qualities as a football player.
Yeah,
again, I don't mean to trash
give me an opportunity. No, I mean, they caught a little bit of a ricochet, sure, but I mean, like back in the Chicago game, you know, people are counting the Cardinals out. The scoreboard doesn't look good. They get the ball in the hands of Dortch down the stretch, and it looks like, you know, as BG says, Red Golden looks like he's on a punt return on a ball he just caught, and you know, he's putting guys on ice skates and finding his way to the end zone with a big score that put that game within reach. And you know, those are plays that you need throughout, you know, the haul of a season. And Dortch is one of now many guys that you can turn to when you need to make a big play.
Yeah, the Zay Jones thing, I think, threw a lot of people off. I truly believe like Zay Jones is going to have a role on this team. I think he's going to play inside and outside. He's insurance potentially if Michael Wilson, God forbid, goes down. This is Greg Dortch's slot receiver job to lose, frankly. Like he bought himself such goodwill last year, helping carry this receiving core. We would put graphics for those who didn't watch the show at the time, graphics of the receiving core and the lack of production at the end of the year that the Cardinals were getting from the core. Michael Wilson had been injured. He had hit a little bit of a rookie wall. It was literally Trey McBride and Greg Dortch that were making it possible for the Cardinals to have a semblance of a quality passing game toward the end of the year. He's doing that against number one corners for Chicago and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And now it's like, okay, you better have a supremely gifted slot corner. Greg Dortch was playing outside last year to finish the year. Now he's playing under, each catching back shoulder fades against Pittsburgh. Go look at that.
He only played 25% of he ran 25% of his routes from the slot last year.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, the previous year was like over 80. So
you're going to get third and fourth corners and maybe, God forbid, a safety on Greg Dortch. Good luck. This is the most well-rounded group of receivers the Cardinals have had.
You want to play big nickel against the Arizona Cardinals, get a third safety in there? Like, good luck.
Not a smart idea.
They better get physical with Greg Dortch if they can.
I want to talk about Trey McBride and who might be joining the McBridesmaid movement. But first, I want to talk about a movement right now to help up your financial game, and that's with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. I just traveled out of state. I made sure my money was tight because of my friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experience by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions to make lives better. And again, if you got a checking account you're happy with, that's great. But what about a savings account? What about a mortgage, loans, credit cards, investment options? You want to build your credit a little bit. You want to up your financial game. Look no further than our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. One of my favorite parts is just the convenience, the plethora of options that we have here in the Valley, the East Valley, different locations, ATMs. I'm not driving, 45 minutes to get my money when I need it. It's always available, always convenient. Plus, you can rep the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Show your team spirit right now. Open up a free checking account online with our friends at Desert Financial and get that Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Go to desertfinancial.com/CardinalsBo to get started.
I want to slow everything down here, and I want to talk about some soft, bouncy, how about delicious gummies from our friends over at OG's Brands. That's right. Welcome back, Johnny Venerable. Have you had some of Arizona's most fantastic cannabis gummies? Our friends over at OG's. Have you entered the OG's world? Well, if you haven't done so already, check out all their products, all their wonderful products right now, ogsbrands.com. You're going to find out, more about them. Sativa, indica, how about their fruits, their creams, their sleep time gummy? You got a tough time going to sleep, staying asleep, because all you can do is stay up at night and think about Kyler Murray's comeback player of the year award odds. Is that what's keeping you up at night? Well, no longer. Check out their aquaberry flavored sleep time gummy. They got the happy balance as well. That's what you're looking for offensively from the Arizona Cardinals and potentially from your gummy. Go online, of course, ogsbrands.com. Find them in your local dispensary if you're 21 years or older. Of course, follow him on your socials as well at OG's Brands. That's OGEEZ brands.com or at OG's Brands.
Absolutely. Let's get to some of these super chats here. We've got in the docket, Josh, $4.99. I wonder what my sweetie pie honey bunny Greg Dortch is doing right now. Probably being a cutie patootie working out with my sugar plum prince Marv. I think that's very accurate, Josh.
Johnny, how many times do we have to tell you to stop donating to your own show?
Josh is speaking my language, man.
Yeah, that's an all-timer from Josh.
Kyler, we'll just call it Kyler 199. Hey, Bo, any update on Cardinals locker room update?
Have not been able to enter the Cardinals locker room yet during OTAs. They usually, we probably won't see the Cardinals locker room until they make the move from training camp back to the facility in Tempe after a stint in Glendale. So we probably won't know truly unless Jonathan Gannon or one of the players is willing to kind of give some insight on the locker room and if there's any updates. But we'll know by week 1 of the regular season potentially what they look like. But as of right now, I unfortunately don't have any info.
It's coming. At some point, it's coming. Gannon, Austin Ford spearhead that. Make sure that they get that going because, yeah, that's got to be taken care of. Agent 47, let's talk about the top 3 tight end of the league. Ozzy 21, hit that like button if you think Trey McBride is a top 3 tight end. Let's talk a little Trey McBride, Bo Brack.
Yeah, I saw that on the Twitter streets. Trey McBride was a big topic of conversation, and rightfully so, doing some great work, helping out and empowering just like he was a same-sex couples kid who Trey McBride is his favorite football player because of that reason. And Trey McBride sent him a signed jersey and
awesome,
drawing some great attention. And Mina Kimes loved it as well. And
she did.
She told you and I that, she drafted Trey McBride way back when in her dynasty league, and it made her feel like Bill Belichick. And I said, "Are you officially a McBridesmaid?" And of course, with that, she hit up her favorite Cardinals reporter, Johnny Venerable, on Twitter. Mina Kimes at Mina Kimes on Twitter. McBridesmaid CC at Johnny Venerable. Rise up.
Wow, I didn't even see this. I'm seeing this for the first time. That's interesting. No, I mean, Mina Kimes, an official McBridesmaid, part of this movement that was coined by the chat here on PHNX Cardinals. Wasn't coined by Bo or myself. It was coined by this community, PHNX Cardinals. We are all McBridesmaids. It's great to be able to ingratiate our friend of the program, Mina Kimes, as a true McBridesmaid.
Friend of yours, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really know or care who you are, but
yeah.
No. Yeah, Mina was fantastic. Check out our interview with her if you haven't already here on our YouTube page of PHNX Sports. But I mean, game recognizes game. She was on our podcast unprompted, just talking about how much she had an affinity for McBride. And if you watch the Cardinals last year, like it was such a crock of shit where Dallas's tight end got into the Pro Bowl over Trey McBride. Like Dalton Schultz is a nice player. He is not on the level of Trey McBride. Dalton Schultz,
Ferguson, right?
Or for what? Turd Ferguson, not Dalton Schultz. He went to Houston. My bad. Whatever slummy Dallas tight end that they're cranking out there that plays the same role in every. Trey McBride transcends the tight end position for the Arizona Cardinals. He looks and plays like a Laporta, like a George Kittle, like a Travis Kelce. There are only so many guys, and that's why you're not seeing Turd Ferguson ahead of Trey McBride to start this year for fantasy football rankings. As bad as those comeback rankings were for K1, I've seen quintessential Trey McBride firm top 5, potentially top 3 tight end in fantasy football this year. Like the only people that are ahead of Trey McBride are Laporta and Kittle and Kelce maybe. And then once in a while, the Mark Andrews sneaks in there. That's it. I mean, that's a good company to be in.
Mm-hmm. Can I be a bit of a wet blanket, or maybe just play a little devil's advocate? Is that allowed here?
You're going to talk about all the new options, and they're not going to be so dependent. That's fine.
I mean, he did benefit, and his emergence was, I think, it was out of necessity, but it probably was even tougher considering he probably got the focus of the opposing defenses, and he still was able to make play after play. But is he gonna be able to put up? I think over 17 games he can put up similar numbers with that being said, like he emerged after week 7 last year. So, I mean, if you're getting the same type of performance from Trey McBride, the good thing is, it's a good problem to have, is you got more mouths to feed offensively than just our guy Trey Day.
I just feel like the Petzing offense, which is the Shanahan offense, which is the Cleveland offense.
Yeah.
It always features the tight end. It's not
in Detroit too, right?
Yeah. Right. Like, yeah, it's a perfect example. I don't think Kyler Murray's taking a Goff kind of jump in terms of like fully mastering this offense. I would love that, getting to the NFC Championship game. But what did Goff have to work with? He had number 1 in Amon-Ra. He had a number 2 on the cusp of a number 1 in Jameson Williams. They had some quality underneath receivers. And then Laporta broke out and had almost, I think, 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. Like, David Njoku in Cleveland, I think, is the perfect.
And how much they run the ball. And how much they
right, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like the same offense the Cardinals want to do. And it's prolonged Goff's career. Njoku in Cleveland over the last 2 years, where Petzing came from, with bad quarterback play, with Amari Cooper, has had about 700 yards per season. If Trey McBride goes out for the next 5 years for the Cardinals and has between 700 and 800 yards a season, like as much as we want him to hit 1,200 yards, that might be more realistic, but I think his touchdowns go way up this year. I think his touchdowns were a byproduct of not having K1. I think he's going to get single covered on, he's not going to be covered by, against Chicago. Didn't they put their number 1 corner, Jalen Johnson? They put their number 1 corner against Trey McBride because that's what the Cardinals were rocking with at the time. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to see off-ball linebackers and safeties on Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride, 8 to 10 touchdowns this year after having, 3 or 4 last year. The presence in the red zone is going to go up. So for me, I can sacrifice some of the yardage if it means more touchdowns. That's where Laporta was so deadly. It felt like Laporta was in the end zone every game last year.
Yeah. I was talking to our friends over at DMVR Rams about Trey McBride. They want to kind of follow up about him. And they must have found out you were on vacation, so they hit me up.
Yeah, it's true.
And but they were asking about the touchdown thing, and I think he easily doubles his touchdown production last year from 3 to 6. I think that happens if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think 6 is Laporta had 10 last year, and Laporta was not their number 1 tight end to start the year. They took him a while to get him ingratiated in the offense, but. I love this from Baharo here. Drew Petzing has to prove he's Ben Johnson level. Ben could scheme wide receivers easily open. Major difference. I mean, I think Drew Petzing, this is his best chance that he's ever going to get to become a high-profile OC head coaching candidate. Like, there's no better tools to be laid out for you with this receiving core. Kyler Murray coming back off an injury, having the entire offseason, a 4th-place schedule, like, as tough as the Cardinals' schedule is to begin the year, I don't look at any of those defenses and say that's really going to hamper what the Cardinals want to do offensively. I think it's the Cardinals' defense has got to be up to snuff for them to make the playoffs this year. We all know that. We've talked about that. The offense can get theirs every single football Sunday. There is nobody on that schedule, with the Rams now in transition without Aaron Donald, the Seahawks, I think, in transition without Pete Carroll. The Niners' defense regressed last year. Buffalo's defense to open the season. Like, the Cardinals should be able to put points up on just about anybody. And if they do, then Drew Petzing is going to get head coaching opportunities.
Let's keep this in perspective, right? Ben Johnson has benefited from having 34 consecutive games with Jared Goff starting at quarterback,
Absolutely.
Getting consistent quarterback play. That does wonders in the NFL. And Drew Petzing had to get 4 quarterbacks ready to start last year, from pointing Colt McCoy in training camp to Joshua Dobbs coming over with like 2 weeks to prepare, to Clayton Tune as a sacrificial lamb, to Kyler Murray being, coming off his most significant injury in his career, plus learning a brand new offense. And I think when you saw it down the stretch, Kyler Murray, he goes 3-5, Matt Prater field goal make away from going 4-4, and that offense was played at a top 10 clip when Kyler re-entered the lineup. So when you get more continuity between Kyler and Drew Petzing, I think you're going to see that bode well for Petzing in this offense, and for him to kind of make a name for himself. Not maybe the status of Ben Johnson. I mean, Ben Johnson is going to probably be the trendy name for a while until he takes his first head coaching job.
Right.
But when you've seen this Detroit Lions team, the infrastructure the foundation early on was laid and it was put in place, and it started with Goff, and then of course leaning on the run game and in investing in the offensive line. Penei Sewell, the Cardinals have done that with Paris Johnson Jr. And then you get the playmakers, you get guys like Amon-Ra that step up, and very similar things can happen with the Cardinals with, like Laporta, Trey McBride, Amon-Ra with Marv or Michael Wilson. I mean, it's very similar. The blueprint feels like that's what the Cardinals are kind of following.
I think the Cardinals can be ahead of Detroit's rebuild offensively. I think defensively, and I'm not taking shots at Ross or Gannon, I just think Detroit had more immediate upfront help with the line of scrimmage. Like as much as I love Darius Robinson, who spoke today, he's not on the level of Aiden Hutchinson coming out of Michigan. But the Cardinals got Marvin instead. Like that was their counterpoint. Like I think Paris Johnson Jr. could have a similar trajectory as Penei Sewell. But then what they do the next year, the year prior, they got Aiden Hutchinson. The Cardinals got Marv. So the Cardinals continued to double down on their offense. And I just frankly think like Kyler Murray is more talented than Jared Goff. I don't think many people would dispute that. But to your point, can he stay healthy? Can he be available? That's what separated Goff for them.
Yeah, no doubt. We are going to be making our way down to Miami this Cardinals regular season, October 25th through 28th. Thanks to our friends over at True Fan Travel. Have you got in on this, Johnny? Have you had enough beach time yet?
No, I want this beach. I'm trading in Maui for the beaches of South Beach, and I have no issue with that.
Yeah, you shouldn't, because what we're going to do is we're going to get you airfare set to go from wherever you may be in the United States to Miami, down to the game. You'll get transportation to and from and back to the airport. Also, you get transportation from a great Miami hotel to the game, plus your tickets to the game. We've got a great tailgate set up. Also, we've got a welcome party. We've got an opportunity to meet some Cardinals alumni and that booze cruise that we've been talking about. It's all mixed into it. Find out more, truefantravel.com. This is going to be the best event we've ever done at PHNX. You don't want to miss out on it.
Yeah, go build your package.
Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
Go build your package now, because there's a bunch of different options. And then if you're worried about, okay, I don't want to pay all of it up front, there are payment plans over the course of 1 to 4 months. So again, level it out over the course of the summer, and by the time the trip hits, it's paid off and it's ready to go. So let us help you make sure you get the best possible deal, which is the best deal, by the way, with our friends at True Fan Travel, Shane.
I went on a booze cruise last time I was in Miami. Got pretty fun.
Yeah.
All I'll say is the last time I was in Miami, the last day we were there, my buddy was tracking my location because I wasn't home. It was in the wee hours of the morning. The sun was coming up, and he sees my location is on the beach. And 2 minutes later, I walk into our Airbnb, and he looks at his phone and he goes, "Is your phone on the beach still?" And my phone and my shirt was still on the beach.
Smart.
And people were setting up for the beach the next day. And we found it in the middle of it. Somehow it didn't get stolen.
Wow.
So I don't think we'll get to that level, but
no walk of shame.
No walk of shame. No.
Maybe Johnny's Shady Rays will wash up.
Yeah, they'll come all the way from the opposite side of the planet Earth. Here's what I'll make a vow right now. You come to Miami, you party with us. I will sit and eat a piece of meat with anybody who wants to sit and eat a piece of meat.
Johnny, you cannot keep doing this to yourself.
That's the selling point.
Pause.
You thought was going to hit.
Pause, as our chat says. Mad Max Stan at $1.99 super chat. Excited for Miami takeover. Mad Max and Keytrail. How about that? We haven't even really talked about this secondary lately because it's been all the headlines with the offense. But you mentioned Garrett Williams earlier. I think he's probably one of the most underrated players on the roster. Slept on players coming into this season. He was a player out of Syracuse that would have gone top, I would say top 50, top 60 in the draft had he not been injured. Came back and immediately had an interception of Shane's boy Geno Smith in his first NFL game. And now he's just sliding into, this is our slot corner, hopefully for the next half decade plus.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see maybe some more versatility from Garrett. I think that the guys that they're bringing in within the last 2 drafts, they view all of them as kind of Swiss Army knife cornerbacks. And that's the versatility word. It was once a 4-letter word when it was heard around this organization, because, the organization didn't know how to utilize players that were versatile. They like to draft them with very valuable draft picks, but didn't have a plan going forward. This organization, specifically Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawls, have an idea of how they want to utilize these corners. And I think guys like Max Melton, Elijah Jones, Keitrell Clark, Garrett Williams are all going to have versatility within the secondary to pop inside, play outside corner if necessary. And we might see that more as Garrett Williams, like Kyler Murray, is going into his second season, but first year healthy in the offseason and gearing up for a big 2024.
Do you think in the ideal scenario, like let's say they have a base defense with 5 defensive backs, obviously Jalen and Buddha starting at safety, is the ideal scenario week 1 is Max and Sean Murphy-Bunting outside and Garrett Williams as their slot corner?
If you're thinking maybe like of a base where you don't have a slot on the field, I think Garrett Williams is going to push to be on the field regardless.
Yeah, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Sean Murphy-Bunting fine. He's on a nice 2-year deal. I give the opportunities to the homegrown guys. And Sean Murphy-Bunting only gave up 3 touchdowns last year, but he gives up some yardage. He's penalized sometimes. So again, who's going to go out there and compete? Who's going to go out there and get production? And most importantly, and we see this emphasized now with this regime, who's going to take the ball away? Garrett Williams took the ball away last year. Max Melton took the ball away at Rutgers. These new defensive backs they took mid to late in the draft this past April take the ball away. The Cardinals defense, for its shortcomings, for premier front 7 talent that's proven, I think are going to make up for it with their ability to force turnovers. Like that's what you saw from Philadelphia that year. They went 9-8, where they started slow and they ramped up as they got a lot of takeaways from the opportunistic secondary and the defensive Jonathan Gannon. And then, okay, let's double and triple down on DTs and defensive ends. So we are one more offseason away from saying, hey, the defensive rebuild is largely complete. I think the offense is complete. You can tweak it. You can tweak the offensive line. The defense is still where the bulk of the heavy lifting needs to be. And I don't think it's in the secondary. I think those guys just need experience, right? Like you don't take Garrett Williams and Max Melton where they took them not to be integral parts of what you want to do. Yeah. You're not paying Jalen Thompson and Buda Baker that money for them not to be big time players for you. It really comes down to, do they have enough talent in DT and do they have enough proven talent that get you double-digit sacks? I know BJ Ojulari, you talked about him, I think, on yesterday's show about how he can get to double-digit sacks. There's a lot of hope, but there's not a lot of proven-ness thus far with this front 7.
Yeah. It's going to – the defense is going to have to step up for sure for the Cardinals. If they want to really, truly shock the NFL world, there's going to have to be some complementary football being played. And we've got a pretty good idea what the offense could do. The defense, there's going to have to be some really rock solid production that people weren't expecting from some, relative to the like NFL unknowns. I mean, we know about them. We just went through a bunch of names, but they're going to have to emerge next season. We got some exciting things coming down the road here very shortly. Within this, soon this evening, we're going to hear from, we'll get the first story from our guy, Arizona Cardinals beat reporter Craig Morgan. He's been out there at voluntary OTAs with me. He was in the press conference today asking questions to Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray, Darius Robinson, and everybody we got to speak with. And a little preview of his article here, Johnny. It will be up at Go PHNX shortly. Quote, to enter a season without any of that baggage over his shoulders had Murray feeling light in spirit on Wednesday. Quote from Kyler is, it felt like one of the best off seasons I've had in a long time. Just a little preview of what Craig Morgan's going to have in his article tonight at gophnx.com. Something to look forward to. When it's live, we will tweet it out from at PHNX_Cardinals. So look for that.
Must read, absolutely. Of course, you can find it exclusively at gophnx.com, as well as you can find the number 18 collection. You read Craig Morgan's article, then transition perfectly into the number 18 collection at the PHNX merchandise locker, which is shipping next week. Right now, we have a date of June 10th, the shipping date. So it's not too late. Go and load up on this gear. And if you become a diehard at gophnx.com, one of those t-shirts, get it for free. Everything else is 20% off for our diehards. But regardless, you got to pick up the 18 collection. I already have my shorts locked and loaded, ready to go. They're shipping hopefully next week. That's what we're targeting. And perfect opportunity to become a diehard. You get the diehard membership card. Of course, as I just mentioned, the free shirt from the merchandise locker, access to all of our premium written content. Craig's putting out bangers. 80 and 90% are going to be free. Then you're going to want that sweet 10 to 20% that only our diehards have access to. Plus, entrance to the Discord lounge. Our guy Craig Morgan's going to be hopping in there frequently now. Q&As, exclusive insight, practice highlights from my guy Bo Brock that you can't find anywhere else. And then I mentioned that discounts to all future and current PHNX sports events. I promise you, is just like our Miami takeover deal. Becoming a diehard is the deal of the century. Pick up your merch now at the PHNX merchandise locker.
Yep. OTAs voluntary. It wrapped up today. Mandatory next week. We're going to have some of the sights and sounds coming on Tuesday. Can't wait to have it for you. I know Shane's going to go out there. He's so talented with the camera. He's going to get you some of the best footage that you haven't seen of Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Darius Robinson, Trey McBride, all those Cardinals you want to see footage of.
Maybe some footage of Bo too.
Nobody wants to see that. I'm just going to be sweating and trying to hide under the only shady tree that they have on the practice facility.
Will a certain franchise quarterback opt to play catch with you tomorrow at practice, do you think?
Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, excuse me.
No, I don't think so.
We could get that on camera.
You got to have two willing people to do that.
Help. Help, guys.
Do you think I should just sit on the sideline? Kyler, I'm open. Put my arm up like what receivers do when they're
I'm trying to practice, bud. I'm trying to get some work in. I think right now you are on the trajectory of catching a pass from Kyler Murray this offseason.
You think so?
Yeah.
It means 100%. A lot coming from you.
We've had a lot of goodwill this offseason, obviously, with our diehards, with the PHNX Cardinal faithful, with drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. The crescendo, on top of selling out this Miami trip, is you catching a pass from Kyler Murray, just like nonchalant, and then just tossing it back to him.
You know what you have to do, Bo? You got to wear a jersey to practice.
I can't wear a jersey to practice.
I have a Kyler Murray Heisman shirt you could wear.
I don't think you'd be let in.
I don't think that there is an actual written rule on that, but that is an unwritten rule. Where players.
How much money would it take?
Craig Morgan would probably never speak to you again if you said in the presser.
Like, first off, like the players, like is this like a Make-A-Wish person? Like who is that? They wouldn't want to even acknowledge that I've been in that building.
Hey Trey, I got your jersey on. I got a question over here, buddy.
Hey, it's your favorite fanboy, Kyler. Here.
You and Bob McManaman should get matching jerseys for media day. That's what I'm shooting for. We'll get Bob a Kyler jersey. We'll have Craig rock a Fitz, a classic Fitzgerald, and Bo can pick which one he wants. He can't get the MHJ jerseys yet, but
soon, hopefully soon. But you can get the MH or the 18 collection. That's where it's at.
So great to be back on this football Wednesday. Just feels right? It's like I was separated from a loved one, and now I'm back, and it's great to be ingratiated with the PHNX Cardinal faithful. Thanks for keeping it afloat, Bo Brock.
Well, we did our best. We did our best to lose everything that we've built here on this humble program, but we kept our head just above water, like you against those waves in Maui.
RIP my shady rays.
Those harsh waves that were pummeling you.
My wife was like, "What were you even doing?" Like, can you help me find my sunglasses? Help me.
It would have been great if Johnny needed like a water rescue.
Get like the jet ski guys come up, drag him on the back.
You know, I scaled a waterfall too. No one wants to talk about that. I scaled a waterfall and I put it on my Instagram story.
Yeah, what was going on there? It looked like you were just climbing up a rope, getting beaten down by water. It looked like a big shower where you're climbing on.
You know, I thought I would take. I thought I'd get some credit from some of our faithful in the chat. Somebody responds, he goes, "Why is this funny to me?" And I'm just like, okay. I guess I check my phone for the rest of the show.
Your back muscles were popping though. I will give you that, JB.
And did compliment.
Did you pay for that?
No, that basically is like if you're elite enough to get to that point, it's fair game. But you have to.
Johnny actually climbed up to the top, put the rope down, jumped down, and then climbed back up the rope.
Now I'm impressed.
It was like an unwritten rule. Like you make it to this point, you make it through the jungle, you get to climb up this rope by hook or by crook. So
and get blasted by water.
It's it's boring, but it's part of my life. And now so is PHNX Cardinals back in the routine. No, Tommy Felix, I did not have my floaties on. I did not have water wings. But I did have this show on a lot of my vacation, and it was damn good. So thank you for the entertainment.
You're sicko. I wouldn't even watch those shows if I was you.
Oh, man. We're back tomorrow, though.
That's right.
Back tomorrow.
Thursday edition.
On a PHNX Cardinals Thursday. In the meantime, how about Donnie Donuts? sneaking in a super chat here. I bought $4.99 a franchise location of Bosa Donuts. Oh my goodness. Blow Brock came in high shit, offering me some. Oh man. I did one better and gave him an OG's donut. Well, Donnie, get clean. Clean yourself up. We appreciate all of you. Like this video. We got almost 700 watching right now. Like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. In all seriousness, I missed you all. So great to be back with PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals. For Bo Brock, Shane Diefenbach, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you Thursday.
We all silly like the mayor.